met a girl with a mind like this. No, no. You spend time like this, my love. Never met a girl so fine like this. No, 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 no. No way someone like this.
Here are 5 reasons why you shouldn't go to nursing school. Hey loves, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Falake. I create content related to beauty, fashion, lifestyle, and nursing. If you're not new here, welcome back, welcome back. So as you can tell from the title, today we're gonna be doing a chit chat, get ready with me, as I share with you all the things that has happened within the last year as a registered nurse. So basically, I did a little questionnaire on my Instagram story for the nursing babes, and I asked them like, what type of questions do you guys have for me, or things that you want me to touch on and talk about. And so we did get quite a few responses, and I'm just gonna like answer these questions to the best of my ability while I do my makeup. Okay, so let's start with our first question. And I'll put like the questions up here somewhere on the screen just so you can get an understanding of what I'm talking about. Best advice for incoming pre-nursing students. This is a really good question. One thing that I think is really important is like getting patient care experience prior to, starting nursing school, or while you're in nursing school. Everybody's timeline is different, so like if you're not able to work while you're in school, that's okay. If not, then getting a job before you start nursing school as a patient care technician, or like anything related to healthcare really. But being able to actually have experience at the bedside, because that's really what most nurses do. You work at the bedside and you kind of can branch on from there, unless you decide to do something like OR, where you work in an operating room, or what else. Yeah, it kind of just depends on your specialty, but definitely get some type of nursing experience under your belt. I think that is one of the most important things you can do. Depending on where you want to work, like I said, you can start building those connections ahead of time with those people that you work with, because you might end up wanting to, work in that hospital or that facility, depending on what you're doing. So I think the most important thing is building connections. The sooner the better. Like even while you're in nursing school and you go to your clinicals, you can tell your preceptors about like your interest and stuff like that. People who are going through the thing with you. Let your preceptors know, like, hey, I'm interested in cardiac ICU or something like that. And they could like help you get contact information for someone on that unit, or and also make sure that you're showing them at your clinicals that this is what you want to do, and you're actually gonna put in the effort to learn and be open to building connections. You can begin building connections that'll help you get into the door. And while working and going to school, whichever one works for you. I did work and go to school at the same time, but it got really hectic to a point where I had to like take some time off. I was working at a hospital, I think around like COVID time, like 2020 going into 2021. So it was a pretty crazy time. I spent a good chunk of like learning during COVID because it was just so crazy. So I was on a medical surgical unit, and so med surg is basically like the foundations of nursing. And so, I was able to get a feel for a lot of different health diagnoses. Like, just get experience in nursing. Like any other job, they want people with experience. But as a new nurse, you kind of have to prove to yourself and prove to them that this is what you want to do. So yes. And pre-nursing, what else? Pre-nursing, I don't know if you are like a freshman in college or you're still in high school. Basic stuff like keep your GPA as high as you can. You want something that's pretty competitive. Pre-nursing is probably gonna be one of the hardest periods of your life, if I'm being honest. But once you get over that hoop, and then the nursing school hoop, life is kind of a breeze. Kinda, sorta. Prerequisite classes, for example, anatomy and physiology, intro to nursing, all of those prereq classes, patho, pharm, that you have to take. Build those connections once again with your classmates this time, because those are the people that are going to be there with you through it all, literally. I cannot emphasize how important that is. Like, I still have friends from nursing school, and we still talk to this day, because like we literally went through it together. When I tell you nursing school is, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, I don't know, like nursing school is just nursing school. Like, I don't really know how to describe it. It's just a whole different world on its own. So I don't know, but yeah, like being able to have those people that are looking out for you and are also able to help you, like when you're studying for different exams, just be able to have that support system in nursing school is important as well. Definitely. So I went to school like away from my family, and so like it was really important for me to build community where I was, and being able to have those friendships was super important for me. So make sure you're building those connections and find something outside of nursing that you're passionate about, because once you get into nursing, it takes your whole life. Like, it literally takes up your whole life. Like, for some people, it even becomes their identity. So find a passion outside of nursing before you get into it. At least in my opinion, I think that is important. But so yeah, like find passions outside of nursing, because when you get into nursing, there's gonna be days where you're doing so good that you're like, wow, this is a breeze. And then there's other days where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna have to drop out. I failed all of my exams. Like, nursing school is crazy. So whenever you're in those, moods where you're like, oh my gosh, like I don't know what's gonna happen. Am I even gonna graduate from this program type of thing? Like, you have to have something that you can like fall back on, and like something to bring you out of that darkness, out of that space where you're like, this is the end for me. Like, I don't know what to do. Nursing was my only passion, and now I have no passions because I failed all of my exams, and now my life is over. Like, no. No, it doesn't have to be like that. So yes, definitely find something that you're passionate about outside of nursing, because once you get into it, like I said, it takes up your whole life. It takes up your whole life. And if you are like me, who kind of, you know, needs that academic validation, yeah, you're gonna feel really, really sad if you don't pass a class or something. So yes, prior to getting to nursing, find something that you're passionate about and do it for fun. Do it to keep you happy. Do it to keep you afloat, like, for real. Because I can't tell you how many times in nursing school that I was like, yeah, I don't know if this is for me, bro. Like, and you're gonna feel like that. So it's okay if you feel like that. Keep that in mind. It's gonna be a lot of hard work, for real. So prepare yourself now, mentally and emotionally. I think the experience is what matters most. Like, your nursing school experience could change the trajectory of your career, literally. So keep that in mind. Build those connections. Keep a strong support system. Find passion outside of nursing. I think that's basically my top 3 pieces of advice. All right, I think we are good to go on the next question. This next question is asking, what are some things that we have to pay for with nursing school and clinicals other than tuition, and how much? The expenses in nursing school, child, they just keep adding up. That's the truth. They just keep adding up. Like, there's literally so many expenses in nursing school. It's not even funny. From the top of my head, I can think of your scrub set. So, like, most schools have a specific color or something. I know at my school, we had like our school emblem or something on it. So, depending on what the nursing school uniform looks like, you'll have to pay for that. And then there's your nursing school approved shoes. At my school, we were only allowed to wear black or white sneakers. And so, you know, most of my shoes that I did have at the time, obviously, were not just plain black or white. So I had to buy new shoes, a stethoscope, and what after that? Textbooks, online education resources such as ATI, which is something that my school used. We used that to like take exams and study for the NCLEX. We also had this thing called Walter's Kluwer or something like that. That thing also had like online textbooks, and like we were able to do homework assignments on there as well. And then we could do like virtual stimulations, kind of learning from home, like clinical examples, stuff like that, like things that you'll see in the hospital. That nursing school is expensive, and if you don't already know that, then newsflash. I don't know exactly how much to say because I never really kept track of how much I was spending in nursing school. But it is expensive. If I were to give like a rough estimate, I would probably say, I don't know, like I would probably say like least 5,000 per semester, no, per year. I don't know. I really don't. I hope that helps though. So you can get an idea of what you would have to pay for textbooks, as well as simulations, uniform, gas. Like when you go do your clinicals, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna have you go to a hospital across from where you live. I think I'm gonna do like a smoky eye today. I just randomly started putting black all over my lid. Nursing school is so expensive. What program were you in and how competitive was it to get in? So I was in a campus-based program, and it was just like a regular program. It wasn't accelerated or anything. I think the whole nursing program itself was about 2 years. And at the school that I went to, basically you began applying for nursing school, I believe, the beginning of your sophomore year, if I recall correctly. Freshman year, you need to make sure that you are, you know, focused enough just to make it into a nursing program. I remember having so much fun as a freshman that I had to work twice as hard to bring my GPA up to a more competitive number. So depending on what school you go to, obviously they'll have their own requirements. And, you know, like back to pre-nursing, if you already have an idea of the nursing school that you want to go to, why not go ahead and look up their requirements, start figuring out ways that you can prepare yourself to, you know, meet those requirements and hopefully get admitted. At my school specifically, they also offered extra considerations into their nursing program. So if you took like your prereqs at their university, which I did, I took all of my pre-nursing courses, anatomy and physiology, patho, pharm. I took all of those classes at the same university that I started out at. And so because of that, I was able to get extra consideration into the program. And the crazy thing about it is I didn't apply to any other nursing schools. Like, I applied to that one school that I went to, and that was it. Like, I didn't apply to any other schools. Because in my head, it was like, okay, if I don't get into nursing school here, then I'm just gonna go back home. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go back home and spend time with my family and, you know, figure out things from there. At that point, like, if I work this hard to bring my GPA up and I still don't get in, like, what's really going on here? You know, that was basically my thought process. But thank God I did get into that nursing school, the only nursing school I applied to, and you know, we just thank God. We thank God. Okay, next question. Someone is asking, how much is your starting pay? My starting pay was about $30. It wasn't $30 exactly. They gave me to start out $29.50, which I was like, what is the reason for not putting the extra 50 cents? But I did also work night shift, so I was getting some differentials. Night shift differential, and also there was like a weekend differential. And $30 is like the market normal for my area. I work in the North Texas area, and so $30 is like the range that most of the hospitals in the area started out as. But back to the differentials. If I worked night shift, I think it was like an extra $4 or something like that. And then if you worked weekends, it was like an extra $6. And then if you worked a night shift on a weekend, you could get like up to an extra $10, I think, on top of your base pay. It's gonna be different for, you know, where you are and what your specialty is, because the cost of living in Texas is fairly low compared to other cities and states. So you kind of just have to shop around and see like what is going to give you like the best offer, and also what are your interests. Because say for example, you get a job in the specialty that you want really, really bad, like a job offer. You want this specific specialty so bad, but they're not trying to give you the pay that you're looking for. You have to decide, are you willing to sacrifice, you know, this pay for this specialty because this is something that you really want to do, versus would you rather take the money over the specialty that you want to do. Like you could have like a list of specialties that you want, top 3, say for example. I know for me, my top 3 were NICU at the time. The second one was, I believe, ER. And then the third one, I was like, if I really have to settle, I'll take like mother baby or something like that. And so like I got offered more at a ER position that I applied for, but I wanted NICU more, like it was higher on my list. So I was like, oh, let me just go with NICU because this is something that I really, really want to do, even though they're paying me a little bit less, you know? So yeah, it kind of just depends on what you're looking for and what you're willing to sacrifice. Because another thing that you have to keep in mind is like commute, you know, like, is this hospital close to me or is it super far? Because that'll also be a determinant in your decision in terms of, if they're paying me less money, I probably wouldn't want to go all the way to the other side of town to work because you're gonna be losing money paying for gas when you're going and coming back. Think about the time also, because they're only paying you per hour at the facility. They're not paying you for when you have to drive an hour and a half to the facility. You're not getting paid for any of that time. So keep all of those things in mind when you're looking for your offers and trying to decide like what to take and what to let go of. I'm gonna do like a little light blush here, then we'll cover it up later, but we'll see how that looks. It's not bad. So yes. And also, don't be afraid to ask people, like, for real. Don't be afraid to ask people. I know when I first started out and I was trying to, you know, figure out like finances and everything like that, I was asking people like, how much do you get paid? Like, don't be afraid to ask people that. Like, I know for some people it's like a taboo, like, oh, no, I'm not telling you how much I get paid. That's none of your business. But like when it comes to nursing or healthcare in general, being able to understand the pay range for each specialty that you're interested in is really important when it comes to making a decision. At least for me it was. Like, listen, don't be afraid to ask. That's all I'm gonna say. Next question. Do you plan on going back to school for your master's? So I actually get this question a lot, like especially from my family, like my mom and my dad. And the real honest answer is I don't know. Like, I truly do not know. It's one of those things that's like in the back of my head. Going back to school is like one of the last things I'm thinking about, to be honest. To be honest. Asked, can you afford a luxury lifestyle with your nursing pay alone? This question is very subjective. I think it depends on what you consider to be luxury. Everyone has their own idea of luxury. It really depends. But say for example, if you're talking about like buying a Lamborghini, like if that's your version of luxury, buying a Lamborghini with your nursing pay, I don't know, like it's not really, I'm not gonna say it's not possible, but it's like maybe not. Maybe not. 9 times out of 10, depending on what you're doing in nursing, you're not gonna be able to afford a Lamborghini unless you have like absolutely no bills. You're living at your mother's house. How are you gonna afford a Lamborghini as a nurse? No, it's not gonna work. 9 times out of 10, no. But like I said, it depends on what you define luxury. Like if you say, like, hey, luxury is, you know, being able to travel at least once every 3 months, then yeah, you could do that with your nursing pay. But it depends on what you define as luxury. You're going to work for 8 to 12 hours a day. You break your back, you come home, and you're still living paycheck to paycheck. It's like, what is this? You know, type of thing. So I think that you would probably have to have like some other type of source of income if you want, you know, more out of life, depending on what you want out of life. If you want to be able to buy Lamborghinis, yes, you're gonna have to work a little bit harder and have other sources of income, because nursing pay alone is not gonna get you there. It's not. And that's just the truth. Ooh, the look is coming together. I'm so excited. Okay, so this one is asking, do you feel like you work in a hostile environment? Like, are nurses actually mean? Are nurses actually mean? Truth of the matter is, yes, mean nurses do exist. They sure do. Let's see. I actually have a little story time for you guys. So get your popcorn. So I had like several preceptors when I started out as a new grad. And I had one in particular, she was my first one. She was like an older lady, and you know, she's like one of those nurses who were like very traditional. And so, you know, she had like her own system for things and had her own routine for things and her own beliefs, obviously, like everyone else does. And so I had one shift with her, where I had to work on a patient who had bubble CPAP, to help keep their lungs open. And at the time, she told me while we were working together that she wanted me to always contact like my respiratory therapist whenever I would be going into that patient's, space. So that way, if there's any type of incidents or anything that could occur, my respiratory therapist would be there and ready to help. And so, I understood this completely. I understood this 100%. I was like, okay, that's fine. I let the respiratory therapist know when I am about to go to that patient's bedside. And so we're at the bedside. I'm caring for my patient, and I'm getting ready to do my cares. I am changing the baby's diaper, getting their temperature, stuff like that. And then I think like right as I was about to change baby's diaper, she interrupts and she's like, "What are you doing?" Like literally she yells at me, and I'm just like, why, what was the reason, Hey guys, I'm so sorry. Somehow the rest of the clip with the story got removed from my SD card, so I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you guys through this voiceover. Basically, she ended up asking me to weigh the patient in the bed, and usually when we do our patient's weights, we have to take off the diaper to remove any, bowel or urine that's in there that could add to the patient's weight, obviously. And so I was like, why did you yell at me for changing the diaper if you wanted me to, weigh the baby anyways? I didn't say this to her at that moment, but after doing my cares, I did ask to speak to her privately. I pulled her to the side and we basically spoke in the supply room, and I asked her, like, why do you feel like you need to yell at me? Like, what was the reason? And I basically explained to her that I wanted to make this shift a good shift, and I wanted us to do whatever it is within our power to make this shift a good one. And then she was like, yeah, I agree. And so I asked her, like, why did you yell at me? I didn't appreciate that. And she's basically saying that she felt like I wasn't listening to her. And I was like, why do you feel like I'm not listening to you? Is it because I'm not doing something exactly how you taught me to do it? And I was trying to explain to her, like, I have several different preceptors. All of them are teaching me how to do things different ways. And you yourself, you told me that I would have to figure out, my routine for things as a new nurse and grab different techniques from other nurses based off of what I felt comfortable doing. So you getting upset at me for not doing something exactly how you taught me to do it is quite ridiculous, to be honest. So yeah, that's basically the end of that. I didn't really say anything to like my supervisor or anything about that situation. I kind of just like brushed it off. And then I would just like thank God for the days that I didn't have her as a preceptor. A soft pink lip combo. And I definitely overlined my lips, so I have to fix it. And I know you guys didn't come here for a makeup tutorial, but guess what? Yeah, you're getting one. Yeah. Makeup tutorial and advice for nursing. 2-in-1. You can't beat that. You think going to a tuition-free school is worth the non-debt? Would you have done it? And so basically I had like asked her what she meant by this question, and basically she was saying like she goes to a non-tuition school, and so she was wondering if that like could affect you know, the education that she's getting. And I'm not 100% sure about that. Like, I never really heard of non-tuition nursing schools until now. So this is new to me. But yeah, like if I had the opportunity to go to one, definitely. Like, are you telling me I really don't have to pay tuition? Like, how does that work? But yeah, like if I had the chance to do that and save money, definitely, because nursing school can be very expensive. Like we talked about, there's so many different things that you have to pay for every semester. So if you can save money on tuition, why not? You know, like for some hospitals, they require you to have like graduation from like an accredited nursing school. So maybe if that nursing school is not accredited, that could probably hinder you from getting, you know, a specific job in a certain place. But yeah, if you don't have to pay tuition and you're still able to get the same opportunities, why not? Definitely 100%. I would do it, and I think you should too. Okay, last but not least, what inspired you to embark into the field of nursing? This one basically has a lot to do with my birth story. I was born in Lagos, Nigeria with a nuchal cord, and I was also breech. Basically what a nuchal cord is, when the umbilical cord is like wrapped around baby's neck, and that could obviously affect blood flow and stuff like that. And so I was also breech, which meant that I was not only chilling in the womb with a cord around my neck, but I was also in the wrong position. So I was upside down instead of like upright. And so that kind of, you know, created complications for my mother, obviously. And so at the time and at the hospital that my mom was at, you know, you weren't really provided care unless you had the funds. Like, where's the money type thing. Like, that was basically the healthcare system. And so my mother is kind of just, you know, experiencing this long and strenuous birthing process. And the whole time the doctor's like, yeah, like, if you don't have the money, then there's nothing we can do. Long story short, the nurses on duty at the time had stepped forward and decided to help bring me into the world. This is the birth story that my mom reminds me of basically every chance she gets. And so I have always just really been inspired by nurses and their bravery and their ability to help people in their most vulnerable moments. That is what, you know, helps me find purpose, being able to care for people when they have no one else to care for them. So yeah, that's what inspired me to get into the field of nursing. And that basically sums up our video. My makeup is done and is looking pretty good, if I do say so myself. Let me see real quick. Yeah, y'all see it. What did I say? Eating? Yeah. And that basically sums up my 1-year nurse update. If you found any of this information helpful or entertaining, please, please, please do me a favor and make sure you like the video and let me know, where you are in your nursing journey. Are you pre-nursing? Are you in nursing school now? Or are you thinking about it but aren't sure? Let me know. And if you have any other questions based off of what I talked about, or maybe something that I did not talk about that you want me to expand on some more, blah, 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 whatever. Yeah, just feel free. Don't be shy. Let me know what you guys have questions about, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Mwah. Peace out.
Never met a girl with a mind like this.